back to the ranking show, and tonight it could get a little heated, a little passionate, a little personal, but probably only if you join in, because we got 3 Wisconsinites here, and we're going to be ranking the best Midwestern states, but obviously we're going to be unbiased.
Always.
Maybe we hate ourselves. We're still, we take shots at ourselves. That's fine. Maybe we hate Wisconsin. Don't pay attention to the 2 hats on the screen. Who knows?
Spoiler alert, I do not hate Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's great.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Such a good state.
It is.
The people. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I think we are the most equipped to give a non-biased take on Wisconsin than any trio ever.
Mm-hmm.
You got Trevor's in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. He's got
and
that
Platteville.
Part of the state figured out. In Platteville, they have the 2 bottom corners. Luke's over in Green Bay, and he also crossed the exact opposite side to La Crosse. He's got that whole bar. And then I went from Eau Claire to Superior, figured all that out for you guys. Now I'm down La Crosse. So we got every point in Wisconsin figured out. And we know what's good. Maybe if there's something bad, maybe we have found it. Maybe we'll keep searching. But so I don't want to hear that we're biased towards Wisconsin. But I do want to hear what your guys' rankings are if you are live in the chat, or if you join after the fact. If you watch us after the fact, definitely comment what we are right on, what we're wrong on, and other topics that you want us to rank in the future. Before we jump in, I guess, do you guys have anything you would like to get off your chest?
No, I'm trying to think if I have any good anecdotes for you guys, and I don't think I do. It's been kind of a boring week for me since we last talked.
For me, I had nothing going on at work, so I was able to read a book the whole day. I read To Kill a Mockingbird for the first time. Solid 4 out of 5.
I like it,
but solid book.
Yeah, that's one of the very few books I've been forced to read that have been good, I would say.
Yeah.
Not bad. I get it.
I like the book Holes.
Holes was a banger.
Yeah.
That was a banger for sure.
Shout out Shia LaBeouf.
Shout out Shia LaBeouf for sure. Yeah, a lot of short stories in my upbringing. I'm not sure if you guys did like Old Man in the Sea.
Yep.
We did stuff like that. We did a ton of short stories. I like those. Those are a little more, and they're easier to fake if you didn't read them. Easier to look up and just get the gist.
I took this in college. I had to take a summer class just to meet the credits, and I took a comic book class, and so I had to go and pick up like 5 different like big books of comics, and I just spark noted the whole thing.
Yeah, that seems pretty simple. Yep. It's kind of like I was in a social history of rock and roll.
Ooh, I bet that was a cool class.
Yeah, like I had a Sex Pistols book. There's like Elvis stuff. It was a Janis Joplin, Beatles. So yeah, that was a good one. But it's not like there's quizzes in that class. There are like papers and presentations, but it's like you can kind of tune out because it's like I've heard of the Beatles before.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you a pretty good rundown on what they did, and all things Yoko Ono. Big diehard Yoko fan here.
That's how my sports communication class was, and I did like absolutely nothing except I gave I wrote a 5-page paper on how Joe Barry, North Carolina guard, is the most underrated college basketball player of all time.
Nice.
You must not have got a very good grade in that class.
He's good.
89%, I think.
High school English. That's like I only wrote about basketball because my teacher liked basketball. So a lot of 86 Celtic stuff.
Hell yeah.
But today, like I said, we're ranking all the best Midwestern states, and we're ranking the states that are technically considered Midwest by, I don't know, whatever Midwestern state board, maybe the president named them. I don't know. It's all in Wikipedia, though. So we got the Midwestern states. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So from Ohio to Nebraska up through the Dakotas, essentially. That's what we're doing here. And you may be thinking, Nebraska's in the Midwest? And that's what I would like to start with. I think people don't know what the Midwest is. And I think people need to read a history book. What is the Midwest? It's like saying, what's the Middle East? It's all, what's your perspective? The Middle East is Middle West of what? The Midwest is Midwest of what? When we named it this, the West was Nebraska, essentially.
Yes.
So we called it the Midwest because we understood we're not stupid. Oh, there's stuff further away. But it's not that they're the Midwest of our country, right? So they're not the Midwest. And I think a Midwest is a vibe. I think you have to be a hard worker. I think you have to be a gritty type of person. I think you got to like sports. I think you got to like fun. And I don't know if Nebraska's in that. I don't know if some of these other people are in it. And lastly, my point to the people here, if you have a Southern accent, you are not in the Midwest.
Correct.
I disagree with that take. What's your guys' thoughts?
Midwest, like, there's a couple, like, to me, at least areas in the United States that are pretty easy to define. Like, you have East Coast, you have West Coast, you have Dixieland, Deep South, whatever. Midwest, really, it's only like 5 states, but I understand. I think you can make the case that it kind of stretches out to 10. But I think there's a lot of states that want to be Midwest that just aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. Did anybody ever consider Nebraska part of the Midwest before they joined the Big Ten? No. And if you were, I think they were, if you're part of the Dust Bowl, you're not part of the Midwest. There it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're part of the Plains. Like, that's fine. That's perfectly cool. Everyone wants to be Midwest. I'm not sure what it is. It's like the hipster part of the country. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sharing something on Facebook really quick, sharing this show. I'm not just sharing something. I'm sharing the show.
I have a question, kind of a question that could generate answers. I can't think of that word right now. But
question's a great word for it, actually.
No, a question where you kind of have to expand on your thoughts. Whatever, I forget what that adjective is there.
Okay.
But I think all of us were picking like what region we want to live in. Obviously, we're all within 20 to 30 years old. We've picked the Midwest to live in. If you could live anywhere else, where would you pick in the country? Open-ended is the word I was looking for.
There we go.
Like any, I will say, I think Central Time Zone's the best time zone out of
For
all
sure.
of them. So if I can stay in the Central Time Zone, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I think it'd be kind of cool to be in the Mountain Time Zone. I think that's kind of hype. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard of somebody even mentioning Mountain Time before. Like, I thought it disappeared. I had to look it up. So I'm a big Montana guy. If I could live in Montana, I'd be happy.
Okay. I would pick West Coast.
Okay.
See, here's the problem for me. Food, culture, East Coast, Boston all day. I cannot do the Eastern Time Zone with sports. It's the worst. Like the NCAA championship game starts at 9:20. Get the fuck out of here. So I'd probably have to do Mountain West or West Coast. I'm with you, Luke.
People absolutely suck on the East Coast too.
Yep, they're horrible. Pittsburgh is full of horrible, awful people, and they all somehow suck at driving.
They do. They're terrible at driving. They're not bad people. I think Pittsburgh is a Midwestern city. I will say, if you think about like the vibe.
Well,
I think they're for sure Midwestern.
No,
they're
just
Ohio
mean.
People.
They're too mean.
No.
They're
You're
mean
soft.
fuckers.
Move out of Milwaukee. You're soft. You got to go back to Wausau. Get a little grit.
Also, Pittsburgh is the only city that I've had a headache in the entire time I was there, and I don't think that's a me problem.
I'll say to go even more west, like Buffalo's a Midwest city.
It is for sure. It feels like a Midwest city. Yeah,
that would be
going. It's all the snow.
Or to go east. I meant to go closer to the ocean.
True, ish. But yeah, the Midwest vibe. It's like they're gritty. They're blue collar. They're still friendly though. They'll help you out. They don't need to be nice, but they'll help you out, which is for sure Pittsburgh. They're funny and they love sports.
Yep,
that's like Midwestern.
They work hard. They party hard.
Is Pittsburgh funny though?
Yes, hilarious.
I don't know.
Bill Cowher, Pat McAfee. They're a funny group. They're hilarious. Okay.
Kenny Pickett.
So, Kenny Pickett, that was hilarious. I remember that. But yeah, let's start with this. I think Nebraska is not Midwest. Anybody disagree?
Nope.
I'm not going to tie my name to disagreeing with this.
Yeah. Okay. Nebraska, not Midwest. And I would say the other one, I don't think Kansas is Midwest.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was going to have Jake call in, but he couldn't call in since he lived there. But he's argued with them the entire time he lived there. Like, again, Southern, it's like a Southern accent. Jordy Nelson's not a Midwestern boy. He's a Southern boy.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Although Bill Self is definitely a Midwest guy.
I guess that's true. That's fair. I would argue Missouri's also in this conversation, but I think St. Louis kind of keeps them in the mix. I'm fine with saying they're not Midwest, just so I can dunk on them later and put them in trash. So that's the first one I'm going to argue or nominate. I think Missouri sucks. I think Missouri's humid. I think it's gross. I think everyone's tragic, like trying to flee the state at all times. Nobody wants it. And if you've ever been to Branson, that's one of the weirdest places with the weirdest groups of people of all time. Cultish. They're trying to be New York, but they're all white trash.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like the Broadway scene in New York, they're trying to do it there, but it's all white trash, blue collar bullshit.
Yeah.
Missouri sucks.
Yeah. So like I had previously discussed, St. Louis to me is a Midwest city. Kansas City to me is a Midwest city. But they have like the fucking mountains and shit, and that's not Midwest.
In Missouri?
Yeah, like the Ozarks and shit.
That's not mountains.
Well,
that's like a swamp.
I guess. They don't have mountains in Missouri?
No. They got an arch, which is supposedly cool.
A swamp is not a mountain.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor.
Yeah, no mountains there.
Okay, never
mind.
I
think all of them here, I would say no mountains.
All right, never mind.
You're 100% correct.
Like, cut that from this show.
Just for that, they deceived you, and that makes them trash.
Your big cities is what's gonna bring you home. Like that's the biggest thing, you know. That's what's, you know, if you don't hit on that, you're not gonna hit on anything. I have not been to St. Louis before. I know 2 people who have, and they say it fucking sucks and there's nothing to do there. To your point, it's humid. Who knows? Like, how is Kansas City in both states? Like, pick a fucking lane. There's nothing good about this state. No, it's trash.
Like the biggest thing that the state has going for them publicly is the Kansas City Chiefs, and most people don't know that they're there. They think it's Kansas. So I hate it. They're trash. Trevor, you can nominate your next state, and I'll try to find it.
Okay, well, this one's going to be easy to find. It's the state of Illinois.
Okay.
It's in the Midwest. Chicago gets a bad rap. I think Evanston's pretty cool. It's pretty underrated. But the traffic just takes it down. It's too long of a state. Half the state is soy fields. It's not a trash, but it's a meh. And I don't think you can argue it's great when 98% of your, state is soy fields.
Yeah, to your point about traffic, when we went to the Detroit game, I solely flew to not drive through that traffic. And that was a 40-minute flight, which I paid way too much to do. But it was worth not driving through traffic. Yeah, to your point, Trevor, soy fields, whatever, that sucks. Like Chicago, parts of Chicago are cool, but really Chicago sucks. If we're being honest, horrible sports in Illinois. So I'm with you. It's meh at best. I may even side with trash.
I would go meh. Like they're just sort of nothing to me. They are boring. They're basically Iowa with a city that looks nice, but in practice, like if you're actually there, you're having a bad time.
Yeah.
Which is that better? Is that worse? You could argue, but
yeah.
Not great. Luke, you're up.
I'm gonna go with like a quintessential Midwest state here, and I'm gonna go Indiana. When you talk about Midwest, like you're talking about hardworking, you're talking about people who love to party, people who love sports. I think Indiana fits all those bills. I think it's fucking incredible. It's called the crossroads of the country, and they just pride their whole state on driving. I don't know. Something about that, it cracks me up. So I think Indiana's a great Midwest state.
Zach, you and I are both gonna shut this shit down, aren't we?
I hate if they pride themselves on driving. If they pride themselves on driving, they should repair the fucking roads. It is the worst. Northern Indiana is hell on earth. Like, all right, Trevor, I told Trevor St. Louis is my least favorite city, and that's because I've never stopped at a city in Northern Indiana because I'm avoiding potholes and I'm afraid to get off on an exit ramp. That place is hell. I hate it.
Here's how you know Indiana's bad. They have a city called Indianapolis, and I swear I have heard about the shithole that is Gary, Indiana, more than Indianapolis. There's
Gary's
nothing good in there. I thought Zach was joking when he said the moment he had "Welcome to Indiana," he had a pothole, and then I hit the same fucking pothole like 3 years later. It's a horrible state. I don't even know what to say about it. There's no awesome body of water. Like Cincinnati and Ohio is better than Indiana to get to, and that's saying a lot. So it's a trash state to me.
I don't mind Indianapolis. I don't think it's cool that they're the crossroads, though. That's not a perk to me. I like Fort Wayne for whatever that is worth. I think that's my Indiana city. But Luke, you're either in great or God tier. I'm gonna go meh just because I think the center brings it and Trevor's trash, so we'll go meh. Is that fair?
That's fair. No Indiana, no Larry Bird.
He would have they just would have been a different state. What do you mean?
That's
But they're
true.
not.
That's true.
Indiana.
That's
It's also crazy that Indiana is like the best basketball state in the country.
It is weird. I'm not sure why. Like, the weird basketball history in Indiana is weird. It doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. Okay, I am up. I'm gonna take an easy one. I'm gonna go with Iowa. Iowa sucks.
Yeah,
dude.
I hate Iowa.
Iowa, the only good thing that the only positive thing anyone's ever said about Iowa is now in Indiana. That's Caitlin Clark.
True.
Like, legitimately, Iowa fucking sucks. It is a state of nothing. And not just that, not only is there nothing to do there, the people there are losers. Like, they're just weird, fucking inbred, dumb people.
Yeah,
I
don't disagree.
So yeah, they're trash to me.
I heard the college towns are nice there.
I love Iowa State.
Yeah.
It's trash. I mean, Dubuque, I've been to through Platteville. It's the 11th biggest, I guess we call it a city. It is the biggest dump shithole I have seen for a river town. I mean, it should be much better. It's horrible. College towns are the saving grace, but the problem is they're not outside of Iowa. I don't think they're near anything. Like, isn't Ames kind of in the middle of nowhere? It's just plop, set it down, cool, awesome, in the middle of fucking cornfields. The people there suck. They don't have any professional sports teams, so that's also a knock. And I've never once in my life. The only good thing about Iowa is they can get really good discounted Brewers stuff there. That's it.
To that point about Dubuque, there's not many great, if any, great cities that have a Q in their name.
Nope.
That's true. That is true. So I'm going trash. I think Trevor was in trash.
Yeah, trash.
Okay.
Like, congratulations, you have Casey's gas station.
Is that from there?
I think so, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Oh yeah, I think you're right because they ate it on one of the shows I saw.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to look it up because it couldn't be the fucking shitty gas station down the road, and it was.
Right.
So interesting. Trevor, you're up.
All right. Let's get this out. I'll at least get half of it out of the way. North Dakota sucks. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing horrible about it, so I guess it's better in Iowa. But there's just nothing good there. I think South Dakota has Mount Rushmore, right?
Yes.
And nobody fucking knows which state it's in. That's a big red flag for me. There's just nothing there to say good or bad, so I'll put it at the bottom of meh.
We're doing North Dakota, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
North Dakota is a very Midwest state. Like, it's very similar to Wisconsin in Minnesota in the sense that there's really nothing else to do but drink there. So I'm all for that.
I agree. I like the people. I think it's a fine state for what it is, but outside of like Fargo, there really isn't much there.
Fargo, great movie too.
Great movie. Haven't seen the show.
The show is awesome.
Good. Yeah. Like, it's Wisconsin type of people, but like there's none of the natural fun stuff from Wisconsin there. Like, there's no water. It's just all field. There's not even really woods.
Yeah, you're right.
for me, it's meh. Like, I don't hate North Dakota. It just doesn't excite me.
Yeah, it's definitely not great.
Yeah. I mean, it'll lead into whenever we do South, but I prefer North Dakota to South Dakota.
Well, let's do South Dakota then. That's my pick.
Okay.
Yeah,
I prefer it, but colleges is kind of a wash, I would say. NDSU versus South Dakota State. So Jackrabbits, who are kind of on the come up, they're kind of fun. They're a fun school to watch and stuff for stuff. NDSU is just a powerhouse for football. I'm not impressed by Mount Rushmore. I don't get why that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I will say my experience in South Dakota, I've been there once. Cool animals there. You always have to stop for a herd of buffalo driving through the highway. There's huge fucking elk. I think the animals are probably the best out of these states here.
I would say Minnesota has a bigger array. But to that point, and another thing South Dakota does have that I completely forgot till now, they have Deadwood, which is like one of those old Western towns.
Yeah, love them.
Yeah, I'd go meh too. They got good things, but I mean, they don't have a lot of great things, but they don't have very many horrible things outside of Mount Rushmore, which isn't horrible. It's just overrated. So I'm good with meh.
I think that Pierre, South Dakota, is the least populated capital too in the country.
Probably. Otherwise, it would be one of the eastern ones, right?
Right, I think.
But yeah, Pierre is pretty tiny.
South Dakota too. I don't know if you guys ever. I'm sure you have. Have you ever heard of Wall Drug, the store? It's incredible. It's just like a huge fucking store in the middle of nowhere, and on the whole drive there, it's like 392 miles to Wall Drug. You're like, oh, I can't wait for it. And it's kind of just a Walmart. You're like, this is it, but it's kind of funny how much they hype it up.
Which, speaking of that, they do have a Buc-ee's like 500 miles away sign going to Chicago now, which is very entertaining.
Yep.
So dumb. So stupid. Okay, I'm up. I think I'm going to get pushback from the state, and that's Ohio. I think Ohio, like, the cities kind of stink. Sports are great. People are awesome.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm in between great and meh, and I just don't like having so many below meh. So I think I'm going to put Ohio in great.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think they have great cities there with Columbus and Cleveland. I guess those are the only two big cities I've been to Cincinnati Airport. That doesn't count. Ohio, in terms of people, they have creatures there too, which are funny.
Yeah. Ohio people are a breed of their own.
I would go out on a limb and say they're the most underrated state in the Midwest. I think they are great. I think the people are awesome. Cleveland isn't too bad. I don't hate it. Akron's a shithole, but beside the point. I think it's a great state. Like, there's nothing, in my opinion, horrible about it. There's always something to do. I think that's much more of a crossroads. It's close to, Pennsylvania and Michigan and, Kentucky and all that. So I like it.
I like that Ohio, like, from its inception, they've been dogs. They alphaed Michigan into getting Toledo.
Yep.
Essentially, like, they had to draw the map line. They just drew Toledo into them. And then it started the Michigan War, Toledo War. But there was no fighting because Ohio just alphaed them. Mm-hmm. So then they just took Toledo from them, which is awesome.
Yep.
It's cool. But then it led to us not getting the UP, which is bullshit. But yeah, Ohio's great. Trevor, you got 3 left.
I'm going to go with, I think this, it's top 3 for sure. Definitely. I love Michigan.
Agreed, Trevor.
It's a great state. The UP, while it should be ours, is still cool. Detroit is underrated. I think people shit on it way too much. They got great beaches, great golfing. Even the smaller cities there they're not shitholes. It's a pretty easy state to navigate. There's a lot of good there, and I like it.
What's interesting about Michigan is, like, Zach, you kind of kicked off the show by saying Midwest states are kind of like hard workers, kind of have blue collar kind of thing. Michigan is like really the only progressive city or progressive state in the Midwest. Now, you can talk about how their government runs, whether it's great or not. Spoiler, it's not great. But Michigan, they have a lot of innovation there. There's a lot of shit going on, whether that be legalized gambling, legalized pot. It just feels like they're like the most forward thinking state of the Midwest, and I like that.
They're like the California of the Midwest, I'd say.
I'm not sure if I'd go that. Well, actually, that's maybe fair with like northern southern split too.
Yeah,
but they're just like the hipster state,
right,
amongst this Midwest, and they're even like hipster, like within their own state too. Because like UP, I'm not even. They're kind of a mix of conservative and progressive, but they're very much different people than
for
like,
sure
main state. I love the Upers, but they're so different from. They're like the way we sent prisoners to Australia is the way Wisconsin sent like Upers up there. It's just weird people.
No, I've spent a lot of time in the UP, and it's incredible landscape. It's beautiful up there, man.
Yeah, it's great. Mackinac Islands, super nice. Go forward. Yeah, I like Michigan.
I'm putting in great.
I'll put them in great. I think the people are fun. I like anyone I meet from Michigan is usually pretty fun. They're all soft bitches. I will say that. They're all like baby back bitches, but every friend group needs one, so that's fine.
I would go God tier only I mean, it's going to be great just because it is also nice that they're right next to Toronto.
True. That's true. Luke, which one do you want to do?
I mean, we can save the best for last. So Minnesota. I don't have a strong opinion on Minnesota. I don't know if you guys, Zach, I'm sure you do. You probably spent much more time there than I have. Minnesota to me is kind of an extension of Wisconsin. I know if Minnesota people hear that, they're probably going to be really pissed off that I say that. But to the extension, I think that there's some differences. I think there's different ideologies. There's different sports. There's different, there's ways of living. To me, Minnesota's meh, but I don't really have a strong opinion either way.
Yeah, I've spent a shit ton of time. Obviously, I've lived on this side of the state. Minnesota, I'll just move this down. If you split it directly in half, like the eastern half is just more Wisconsin, essentially.
Yeah.
And then the other half is the Dakotas. Like, so half the state is super boring. They are just the blue collar type of people, which are fine. They're just not exciting. They're very saltine cracker over there. They do have the Spam Museum over there, which is kind of fun.
Ooh.
But then, like this side, I think the Twin Cities are awesome. I think they're super fun. Rochester is a good place. And then you have Duluth, super fun, super hipster, very Michigan-y. And then the North Shore is incredible. So you got Lake Superior there. So for me, it would be great because I think the eastern part's God tier, but I think the other part's meh.
I think you hit it on the head there. It's not God tier, but it's definitely on the same plane as Michigan. For me, the west part is kind of, forget about it. But Twin Cities are pretty cool. And although their fans in general are usually pretty stupid, the hockey fans are awesome. As annoying as they are, they're awesome. They're a great sports town as well overall. So I throw them in great too.
As stupid as Vikings fans are, and Timberwolves fans as well, like they're super loyal. So I like that.
Yeah.
I respect them. Okay. Best for last, Wisconsin. And my unbiased opinion is that it's such a fun state.
So fun, man.
Wisconsin's such a good state. It's got everything in terms of like landscape. If you need a big city, you can quickly get to the Twin Cities, which is right there, or you can go to Milwaukee. Like you're either close to one of those two, essentially. So that's good. Sports is obvious. Food is obvious. Got a bunch of beer. It's just a party city. Have fun. I feel like everyone's willing to help you out. Like it's such a good state. Such a good state. So Wisconsin's got tier for me.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay is ranked the best place to live in the world for a reason. And I think that's more of an extension of Wisconsin. I think a lot of Wisconsin is exactly like Green Bay. But what's Wisconsin's number one thing that people know them for? Drinking. And I'll say that drinking may be the most fun activity that's ever existed. I think Bert Kreischer did a rant on it, but I look forward to drinking every time I can drink. And that's, to people who don't live in Wisconsin, it probably sounds like alcoholic. It's not. It's just so fun to crack a beer, to do whatever, go to the bar after work, sit outside when it's warm, And I think, and to add on to that, being warm, you really covet being warm here in Wisconsin. As soon as it gets to 40 degrees out, it's like everyone, nobody is inside. It's just incredible. Like said Zach, everybody's fun. Everybody's loyal to everything that they do. Like being from Wisconsin may be the number one thing that Wisconsin people should be known for, because people love being from Wisconsin, and I'm right there with them.
And the best part about it, I'm not going to go over the people, which, I mean, you guys hit right on the head. It's got the best part of like pretty much every state. You talk about Michigan and the beautifulness. I mean, that's Door County. You want a city that's like Chicago, but less disgusting and doesn't have insufferable traffic. Milwaukee. You want progressive, that you get a little bit of Michigan, still fun, bikeable. Madison. If you want smaller, that still has some good stuff. You got La Crosse, you got Eau Claire, you got even Wausau's building a little bit. Like there's everything there. And if you're trying to think of a bad thing, there aren't many. And I think the last thing that makes it God tier, if somebody's like, I'm from Wisconsin, and somebody else is also from Wisconsin in that room, you're going to be like, oh, I'm from Wisconsin too, not, oh, yeah. Like if you are truly from Wisconsin or live there and gave it a shot, you don't have a bad thing to say about it. As your number one thing.
To that point, Trevor, my dad was telling me about a story. They were in New York last year, my parents, and they went out on my dad's birthday, and they're sitting in the bar, and my dad's like, oh, there's a girl there that had the same birthday as me. And my dad's like, oh, it's my birthday too. And he said the girl didn't react. He's like, if we were in Wisconsin, we'd be drinking till 2 a.m. together.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I feel like everyone knows somebody from Wisconsin, and then wherever Wisconsin people go, like they always hang on to, it's like their identity, which I think is a big deal. I think that's super fun.
And on top of that too, like if I'm in like California and I hear from somebody's from Wisconsin, you can crash on my couch like for a week. And that's just how Wisconsin people are.
And then the biggest draw, like one of the biggest draws in the country, in the center of Wisconsin, perfectly located, is Wisconsin Dells, which is just a good time.
Always.
Just a fucking weird place. That's a good time.
Yep.
Like the city is a haunted house. And there's water parks everywhere.
With Great Lakes too. And people from Illinois make up like 50% of the cabins on the Dells. So that's all you need to know.
Yeah, we got 2 Great Lakes. Lake Superior, you got Lake Michigan.
I'll put the food in Wisconsin up against any other state as well.
Great stuff. We got a huge mix because, and I did like a big research project on this. So we got like this huge ass fucking Hmong population, like the biggest hub in the country.
Yep.
You got a bunch of that culture. You got obviously the German culture. You got Austrian culture. You got all that stuff. You
got Italians up north. Yeah, it's all over.
Even in just Milwaukee, Germans, Austrians, Ukrainians, you got everything.
Yeah, for sure. So unbiased opinion. Sorry about it. Wisconsin's the best, but there are some other good states as well. There's other states that remind us of Wisconsin, which is all that really matters. And that's all it really means to be Midwest.
It's so fun to drink, man.
It is.
I can't understate that. I was listening to a podcast where people were like, the perfect amount of beers is 2, then you really go and like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
You hit the nail on the head though. Like in college, you can just be sitting around in a field. You're having a ball. You can just be watching cars go by. You're having a ball. It does not matter what you're doing.
Yeah. I don't understand that either. Every time they do that graphic, like the drunkest counties in the country, and it's just Wisconsin's lit up and then there's nothing else. Mm-hmm. And that like make fun of it. So we have a good time. Yeah. Sorry about it. And we're still better than you at everything else.
Right.
Like we spent all of our money drinking and then we got up the next morning that we did some fucking work.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
bad about it? We go to church so we can get a buzz.
Fair. It's so funny going to church and seeing people having Packer jerseys on. It's so good.
Yeah, and that's normal. That's great.
And bringing in Packers things and like the sermons and shit.
Yeah, I mean, so good.
Skiing, golf, you name it.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments below what you think the best state in the Midwest is, and what's the worst state. And do you agree? Do you think Nebraska and Kansas are not part of the Midwest? If you have an argument for it, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear why you're wrong. I'll defend our take in the comments, but I would like to know that. I would like to know other things you want us to rank. Please do that, and we'll get to it pretty quickly. We will take your suggestions. We will try it out. So like and subscribe so you don't miss when we do your suggestions. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I just love Wisconsin.
I would say if you haven't, give Wisconsin and Michigan like an actual chance. Like, don't be like, oh, I was in Kenosha and I didn't like it. Like,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
go
fucking
fuck yourself.
Kenosha.
Both those states are great. I feel like those are two states nobody gives a chance to. I feel like most people give a chance to Minnesota. Not a lot of people give a chance to Michigan or Wisconsin. So, give it a shot.
Definitely go and do that. But we will be back next week with us ranking something else. So stay tuned to that. Subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.